You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Fidelity's Option Trade Builder tool can help you confidently build an options trade in 3 simple steps. Just choose a strategy, select a contract, and then review the benefits and risks of the trade. Learn more about Option Trade Builder at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC. The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
All right, everybody, welcome back to your Options News Rundown for today, Thursday, July 11th. My name is Mark Longo, your usual host, Dan Passarelli, still on assignment out there at the Market Taker Mentoring Annual Retreat. Check it out to learn more at markettakermentoring.com. Meanwhile, let's get rolling. Before we look ahead, we'd like to look back and see what was lighting up the tape on Wednesday to give us a sense for what may be trading, what may have continued momentum into the trading day on Thursday. We saw a general lift across all markets on Wednesday with most of the major indices closing up around 0.5%, S&P up about 0.5%, Dow a bit of a lagger up about 0.33%, and tech-heavy NASDAQ up a little bit more, leading the charge to the upside up about 0.75%. Of course, all that green on the screen means VIX Cash taking a bit of a break down to the 13 handle, 13.03. to end up the day down a full point. Not looking good for my volatility views prediction for Friday, listeners. But we got a few days left. We all know anything can happen in the world of volatility. Speaking of what happened, let's see what happened out there in the individual equity options markets on Wednesday, what was lighting up the tape. Our top 10 most active. Let's start number 10, BABA, 164,000 contracts on the tape. Number 9, Disney, getting up there into the top 10 yesterday, 190,000 contracts on the tape for number 9. Number 8, Bank of America with 193,000 contracts. Number 7 is NEO, 272,000 contracts. Number 6, Amazon, 281,000 contracts on the tape. Number 5, Tesla, 285,000 contracts. Number 4, Apple, once again not in the top spot with number 4, 334,000 contracts. Number 3, Micron, 344,000 contracts. Number 2, AMD, 384,000. Number 1, Facebook, lighting it up, 418,000 contracts on the tape. The most biased of that paper coming in Disney, 85% of their 190,000 contracts coming on the call side of the ledger. So interesting, a lot of names holding over from yesterday, something to watch going into today's market activity. Speaking of that market activity, a lot of yesterday's rally, and indeed a lot of the interest today is coming on the heels of Mr. Powell's testimony saying that the Fed looking to perhaps cut rates, giving a little more fuel to that rate speculation fire. In fact, yesterday we talked about the Fed Watch tool, and the market was pricing in about a 98% chance of a 25 basis point cut. Well, that has changed since yesterday's testimony, listeners. It's now down to 71.5% for a 25 basis point cut, and nearly 30%, about 29%, almost 28.5 or so there, for a actually 50 basis point cut, which would be a big one. And remember, coming into yesterday's testimony, that was at about a 1.5% probability. So the market increasing that dramatically after Mr. Powell's testimony. Again, you can find that for yourself at the CME Fed Watch tool. Great tool to watch if you want to see what the market, forget what the analysts are saying and everyone else, what the market is actually pricing in when it comes to the Fed and its rate decisions. I know all of you love earnings, listeners, and we're coming up into the teeth of it. It really kicks off in earnest next week with Netflix and a bunch of the other names you guys like to watch. Popping off after the bell. Netflix is on the 17th. But of course, before that, we have the financials kicking it off on the 15th with Citi and, of course, Goldman on the 16th, as well as JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. So a lot of financial names coming up in the near future as well. If you want to know what the market is pricing in terms of volatility, in terms of expectations, in terms of straddles, well, we got you covered at theoptionsinsider.com. Brand new earnings move report up there from our friends over there at Oratz. It's got all of them in there. It's got JP Morgan, if it's got Goldman, it's got Netflix, it's got American Airlines, it's got United Airlines, it's got Wells Fargo, the list goes on and on. eBay, you could spend a lot of time looking at this. And if you like to trade during earnings, and I know from hearing your feedback and seeing what you guys actually do out there, a lot of you do, despite our warnings, a lot of you like to trade during earnings, then you definitely need to check this out. It's pretty much the only place you can get this data, and it's all completely free. So head on over to theoptionsinsider.com, look for the earnings move reports, see all the data for yourself. You really need to arm yourself. If you're going into earnings season to trade or just to watch as an indicator, either way, you need to know what the market is pricing in. Forget the analysts, forget all that nonsense. Real money at risk. Earnings move reports. Check them out. theoptionsinsider.com. Now, everyone's got fake beef on the brain with the IPOs of Beyond Meat and the Impossible Burger out there lurking, and everyone's just got fake meat on the brain, which had just wondering over here at the Options Insider. Let's get a little esoteric. Let's get a little weird with some of the other products out there. Maybe what's going on in actual beef, aka live cattle futures. And actually, it turns out quite a bit. Great article linked up there on theoptionsinsider.com for you guys to check out. But some great breakdowns coming out of what's going on in a very esoteric side of the marketplace. This article quotes beefboard.org, not a place I'm sure a lot of you go every day, but if you're interested in this marketplace, maybe it's a place you should be going, showing that lower supply and strong demand shifting into the fourth quarter. So people are looking for a little bit of a bullish turnaround here in live cattle futures. So I guess it's not all faux beef these days. People want the real thing as well. They're saying strong consumer beef demand expected to continue through 2019, with USDA predicting consumers in the U.S. eat nearly 9% more beef this year. That's hard to fathom, given that we are, A, you already eat a lot, and B, there's a lot of new faux alternatives on the marketplace. I got some nice, juicy Beyond burgers sitting in my fridge right now, just waiting for them. So, yeah, I guess that hasn't put a dent in overall beef demand. By the way, if you like your dates and your numbers, July has several important reports to keep an eye on for this marketplace. First is the Cattle on Feed report that's coming out on July 19th. The same day is also the Cattle Inventory report. That's a biannual report. It contains, as you guessed it, inventory numbers and values for cattle and calves throughout the U.S. So fascinating stuff. Not an area of the market we get to talk about a lot, but tune into TWIFO later today. Maybe we'll get into some of that live cattle action as well. Not a huge option story there, but futures have been moving quite a bit of late. A lot of you guys have been writing into us asking about that marketplace. So maybe it is something that we need to take a look at for a future episode of TWIFO. Maybe today. Tune in and you'll find out. Let's wrap it up with another esoteric marketplace. Hopefully you've been enjoying our The Crypto Rundown program, typically every Monday shortly after the option block, or you can catch it, of course, on your podcast device of choice. I know a lot of you have been writing in, a lot of you have been joining that program. Again, it's a new marketplace, certainly exhibiting a lot of great realized volatility. 1 month realized vol spiking well up over 100 recently out there, and the swings going on out there of late haven't slowed down since our show on Monday. We saw Bitcoin jumping nearly 6% yesterday on Wednesday, threatening 13,000, getting up to about 12,992. So big moves going on. Look at that. Looks like a lot of that, I should say, coming off here. Coming into showtime today, we're seeing Bitcoin off over 1,000 handles, actually about 11,578. It's about 1,400 handle drop since those highs on Wednesday. But still an interesting fact out there. A lot of you like to watch this space, and a metric a lot of people like to use is the market dominance. How much Bitcoin is increasing in value versus all the others out there, the altcoins or your ETHs, your Bitcoin Cashes, your XRPs, all that good stuff out there, your Litecoins. From the data here, it looks like Bitcoin, and we talked about this a little bit on Monday as well on the show, Bitcoin has been rallying. The other altcoin, kind of a bit of a mixed bag, and that's leading to a very high dominance for Bitcoin. It's currently at 65% of total crypto capitalization out there. Remember, those market cap numbers, take them with a big grain of salt, because there's a lot of questions about exactly how accurate they are at the end of the day. But still, percentage-wise overall, it probably will be a similar amount here, and 65% right now for Bitcoin as an overall percentage of total crypto market capitalization. That's the highest it's been since December 2017. We all know what happened in December of 2017. We saw Bitcoin race pretty much to 20,000 before kind of falling off that precipice and beginning that long, slow death march down to about 3,000 before it since has rebounded to where it is right now. So fascinating time, fascinating numbers. Apparently the altcoin not feeling the love that Bitcoin has, perhaps showing that there's some other factors at work driving the prices out there. If you want to check out, of course, some great data options-wise on Bitcoin, head on over to our friends over there at SKU, at sk3w.co. We use it all the time on that show. It's a great free data source. Don't see many of those out there. They'll give you the implied vol, the SKU, everything else you want to know. Realized vol, the call, the put ratio, everything else you may want to know. Open interest on Bitcoin options. Yes, they're traded. They're not really hard for you guys in the U.S. to get, but the overseas audience, eating them up on Deribit and BitMEX and other venues like that, as well as, of course, OTC. So a lot to keep an eye on there. Meanwhile, we have to run, but tune into our shows, of course, today on Thursday. If you're joining us live, we've got the Option Block live, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and TWIFO, This Week in Futures Options, live at 1:30 p.m. Central, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Both of those via the old Mixlr link. So if you have it before, you got it. Set it and forget it. If you're following us on Mixlr, you'll get notified, so no worries there. Otherwise, just follow us on social media. You'll see the links go out when the shows are live, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another Options News Rundown.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. At Fidelity, you'll always get a great value for your options trades. And with powerful investing tools that provide clear next steps, plus independent research and a wide range of investment types, we can help you make better trading decisions. Learn more about options trading with Fidelity at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.